You could sense it. There's evil in that man.
It's a cruel, cruel summer.
Hello guys and welcome back to Lisa Loves. Yes, we're still in the midst of Corona. Yes, there is some hand sanitizer there in the background which I've only just seen. I'm not putting a particular setup today because I'm still feeling a bit pants, to be honest. But what I wanted to do today was talk to you about a Netflix series I watched recently. It sort of ties my love of true crime, that sounded wrong, and my avid watching of Netflix and movies and all the rest. So recently they have released a documentary, a 4-part documentary on Netflix by the name of The Night Stalker. Now, anyone with an interest in true crime, or to be fair, anyone not living under a rock, will know that The Night Stalker refers to Richard Ramirez, a infamous serial killer from around the 80s. He's not with us anymore. He passed away in prison in 2013, I believe, from cancer. Well, no sympathy for the guy. He deserved a long and painful death, but there we go. This is a 4-part documentary series detailing the crimes of Richard Ramirez, which were sort of mid-80s. When he was sentenced, it was for 13 murders and 11 sexual assaults, but it is felt that he probably was guilty of an awful lot more than that, and in actual fact he did allude to that in interviews when he was arrested. But this series, as I said, it's 4 parts. They're roughly an hour long each, slightly under, and they follow 2 detectives on the case mainly. Frank Salerno, who was an older established detective with a very good reputation, and a younger guy by the name of Gil Carrillo. Now, Frank Salerno actually approached Gil and asked him to become his new partner, and for Gil this was incredible. This guy had a lot of respect, he was over the moon, he was young, he was upcoming. And a lot of people didn't like Gil. They felt he was a young upstart, sort of like just trying to make a name for himself. He wasn't popular. And one of the reasons for that was, in the beginning when the Night Stalker struck, Gil actually tied some of his crimes together. This horrible, repugnant man, Richard Ramirez, actually sexually assaulted children also. He didn't kill them, but this young detective Gil actually tied all these together at the start and felt that it was the same individual committing murders and committing these sexual assaults. All his colleagues basically thought, just shut up, you're talking rubbish. They thought he was trying to make a name for himself. They didn't like him. So when Frank Salerno came along and approached Gil and said, I want to work with you, he was over the moon. So it does go into them a little bit also, and it follows their investigation into Richard Ramirez. Obviously, I won't go into telling you the whole story about what happened. I'm very open to doing a true crime video about Richard Ramirez if you'd like me to do it, but obviously it's a very well-known case, so I really wanted to talk about the documentary.
Pressure was on
Cruel summer.
to stop the madman that was doing all this.
So we start trying to piece all this puzzle together.
We were in for a roller coaster ride.
It's the only time in my entire life that I slept with a gun.
So as I say, it does concentrate a lot on the 2 detectives that work on the case. It does obviously talk about all of the victims. Now, something I will say that has been getting the show a lot of criticism is they do show a lot of the crime scene photographs. They do blur or pixelate out or put boxes over the victims' faces, but the pictures are pretty graphic. They're not something that a lot of people want to see. There has been criticism for including them. Also, people obviously saying, have the families given the rights for this to happen, because it must be very upsetting for them. So if these kind of photographs are something that you would find disturbing, that you don't want to see, if you want to see mainly a sort of interview-based documentary, it wouldn't be something I would recommend. But as I say, if you're used to watching true crime documentaries, you'll very much be used to this. I was quite surprised myself when I did look up to find out what kind of ratings this documentary was getting. The noise is the dog, by the way. There's nobody making weird noises in the background. There are a lot of complaints about the photographs and some of the little video clips that are put in there. But I think it's kind of difficult to tell this story and to get across the brutality of what this individual did without including those kind of photographs. So just fair warning, they are included. They are graphic, and as I say, it's been complained about that it would be very upsetting for family members of the victims to see these photographs. But I do feel when it started, it did concentrate a lot on the two detectives, and I felt maybe a bit too much so. I wanted to find out more about the crimes, how they caught him, and it does go very much in depth into how they actually caught him. Again, there was quite a bit of ineptitude on the part of some of the police officers involved in the investigation, people wandering around crime scenes, tampering with evidence, but at the same time, ingenuity by some people protecting footprints. You will find one of the main things they got Ramirez on was he was one of these, thought he was individual, wore a particular kind of trainer, and always wore the same trainers and left this footprint at pretty much every crime scene. So he was tying them together. It also deals very closely with the press involvement and how that inhibited the actual investigation. Sometimes, obviously, the press in their want to report the latest information can sometimes get in the way of an investigation and give out information that they really have no right to be giving out. So it does cover that also. I felt I enjoyed it. I felt it was a very, if that's the right way to put it, I don't know if you can say you enjoyed it, but I do feel it was a very well put together documentary. I do feel a lot of the imagery was important to get across exactly what kind of individual we were dealing with here. Richard Ramirez to me will always be one of the most evil, just serial killers out there. There's just something in the man's eyes that he's just something about him. He makes my blood run cold. But it does, obviously, if you know about him, it does show the ridiculous amount of women that sent him photographs and letters in prison that were fans, like he was a rock star, and he's in court swanking about with his sunglasses, waving at all these women. So really, the human psyche is a very strange thing. I was watching it with my husband, and as he said, all these pictures of all these women are flashing up that have sent him, in some cases, suggestive photographs. And it's like these women could be sat right now at home watching this show with their husband or their kids. That's you, Mum. What are you doing in that photograph? The mind boggles. But I would recommend this show for anyone with an interest in the case that wants to know how it all was put together, how they caught him. It does end very abruptly after he's caught and sentenced. There's nothing of the court case apart from little clips of him. So it's mainly about the detectives and how they put together the investigation and how he was caught. But it is one I would recommend. It was so much better than the recent one that was put out about the Yorkshire Ripper, again on Netflix. My husband's actually from Yorkshire, knows the case inside out. We've both watched a lot of documentaries about the Yorkshire Ripper, and we were both very disappointed with that one. We felt it glossed over a lot of information. There were victims not discussed. I just didn't feel it was of that higher quality, but this one, I do feel it was much better. But just to say, it does end very abruptly at the stage where he is arrested. So yeah, I would recommend it. From me, I would say out of 10, I would give it 7.5. But if you've seen it, let me know in the comments. Let me know what you thought. And I look forward to speaking to you next time. Over and out from Lisa Lives.